Hey, it's Adam, and I am here today to talk about my Starbreach warband. I went ahead and put together a Legion of Mankind list, so I'll be going over how I built those, what I was looking at when I built them, and then my list, kind of give you an idea of my thought process and what I was doing when I put it together. I'm outside in Arizona. It's about 100 degrees right now because my children are inside and they are loud. So hopefully it's less loud out here. I don't know. We'll find out. So without further ado, I will flip this camera around and we'll get started. Okay, so this might be a little bit shaky cam because I'm holding it, but this is the list I ended up putting together. So I used the Iron Core Eisenkern Stormtroopers from Wargames Atlantic, 20 multi-part hard plastic 28mm figures. My mech has not arrived yet, so as a stand-in, I have a couple of Battletech mechs that I might press into service. These are the plastic ones from the beginner box set from, I think, about 10 years back. Hopefully the mech gets here in time. If not, I will make do with what I have. These are the screws for the Eisenkern. You can see they've got legs, backpacks, a couple of these sniper rifles, some shotguns, heavy machine guns, shotgun, more heavy machine guns, and then the regular kind of bolt rifles. Some heads, heads with, let's take a look, heads with out helmets, and then there's a couple other commander heads and hands with binoculars, some machine guns, some other fun stuff you can do with this kit. Not a lot of like heavy weapons like flamethrowers or rocket launchers, which is kind of a disappointment given that those are some high damage weapons in Starbreach, but I went with what I could. So for my sergeant, I picked an alpha with a heavy bolt repeater and a plasma shotgun. Gets a couple grenades for free. I gave him a service medal and a comlink as his relics for a point cost of 3 and 2. I put all my point costs in here so I could tabulate them up. And then bought him Inspiring Presence 2. He got Natural Leader. I picked Inspiring Presence 1, and then I added on Inspiring Presence 2 to give him 10 inches to give all allies +1 on ranged attacks. For specials, I have a support mech with an ion cannon and a chain blade. I went with a chaplain who's basically a psyker of the Order School. He comes with a power saber and a bolt pistol. I gave him a service medal to give him +1 to initiative for the entire battle. I also put in a scout as a special with a scoped bolt rifle. The rest of my list is corporals. Corporal with a bolt rifle, battle forged armor, +1 to his armor rating. A second one with a bolt rifle and battle forged armor. A corporal with a subcompact bolt gun, just to have something a little different. And he does not have the armor. I figure, he's going to want to be lighter on his feet, so he's probably going to want to have lighter armor. And then another corporal with a heavy bolt repeater. And battle forged armor. And then that scout that I added him in because I originally had grenades on all these guys, but then I started thinking I was kind of over pointing my troops and I wanted to add another troop in. So if we're looking at these guys, this is going to be my alpha with his heavy bolt repeater, and you can see his little antenna for his comlink. He is not wearing a helmet because leaders don't need helmets. They're not going to get shot in the head. They're too cool for that. This is my chaplain. I swapped the head out with one that I had from Mad Robot Minis. It's kind of a, if I can get a better look at it here. Nope, there it is. Kind of a skull face. And he's got a power sword that I clipped from a bits off of, I think, some Death Watch, and then he's holding the binoculars because he needed something to do with his other hand since he's not holding a gun. And it would look weird if he just had a gun arm that wasn't doing anything. Here is a stormtrooper with a bolt rifle. Here is my stormtrooper with the heavy bolt rifle. You can see, looking at him and the Alpha, they have the same gun. He's also got this optic on to kind of differentiate him a little bit. There's this guy with the bolt rifle right here. I've got this running man with the submachine gun. Submachine gun's not perfect because it's got a little grenade launcher on it, but sawing that off looked like it was going to be a problem. I also missed this big, huge mold line in his helmet, so I'm going to have to go back through and clean that up and re-primer him, which is fine because I added this scout with a scoped bolt rifle today. Now, his armor is much lighter than the rest. The rest of these guys are all armor 4, armor 5, except for the chaplain, who's armor 2. He's only armor 1, so to kind of help draw attention to that, I left the backpack off, so he's got much more of like kind of the open back, and then I put these pouches on because he would need a place to keep the ammo for his weapon here. So I figured, yeah, I'll put a little pouch on there to show that. I also gave him the optics helmet, but flipped up because I thought as a sniper, he's probably more likely to use the scope on the actual gun than these optics. Maybe these are there to help him navigate the battlefield, and then when it's shooting time, he's using this kind of to tell a different story with him. Having done that, I wish I hadn't glued the pack onto the chaplain because I would have liked him as an armor 2 guy to not have that pack either, so that the lightly armored guys would look more lightly armored than the rest. I left the shoulder pads off of him too to show he's a little more lightly armored. I may go add them back in just because I don't love the way these joints look without them. I'm currently debating that, but I can still decide that later. I thought, well, if he's lightly armored, maybe he doesn't have the shoulder pads, but then it's like, but the arms don't quite look as lovely as I'd like them to without the shoulder pads. And I just kind of like the look of these guys with the little shoulder pads on. I think it looks a lot cooler on them. But yeah, that was kind of my thinking based on the weapons that I had available to me on my sprues here, and the rules I had available to me in the core book and the types of troops that I wanted to run. That's sort of how I composed my army. Kind of view them as like a more elite type of army, dropping in to, defend the empire of mankind or the territories of mankind, depending on, their stormtroopers. So it's probably some kind of empire. But yeah, that's kind of how they are. And again, I wanted a really kind of fast look for the guy with the submachine gun because he's clearly going to want to run up to his enemies. Whereas, this shooter guy, I went with the more static kind of standing pose. And then I tried to get something a little more dynamic, like this guy with the heavy gun crouching down to fire it because it's a heavy gun and it's unwieldy. And then these guys kind of leaning into their bolt guns a little bit. And this guy doing a charge forward, but not quite as fast as this guy who's running up with his light gun. I figure he's got his psychic powers. He's kind of slowly marching towards the enemy with his sword out, looking all vaguely ominous and threatening. And then the commander who's surveying everything, and he's got his gun kind of down so he gets a better view of what's going on the battlefield and can look around and make a decision. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Hopefully my mech gets here in time, but that's my list, and that is my Starbreach Mankind list. Thanks for watching.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your old friend Richie Buzzkill here with his Starbreach crew, Warband. These are Lizardmen, and I've chosen the Nomadic Raiders, which is a nice way, maybe a more politically correct way, of saying space pirates. So I have Lizardmen, space pirates. So I'm super excited about that. I went with kind of a crew of mostly soldiers, or crew. So these are crews right here. This is the crew with a long rifle here. He's got a long rifle. And then this is a crew with AK-47 here, or bolter, right? And they got 3 of those bolter dudes, and then I got 1 long rifle. So these guys are the basic troop for the Nomadic Raiders. Also, these guys are straight out of the kit from Wargames Atlantic. I did modify this one a little bit to put some green stuff in his arm there because I wanted a little more dynamic pose. But it was super easy to do. Let's see if I can get a little closer here. Yeah, so you can see that he's got like a gas mask on. He's got this rifle. It looks like a musket, but a space musket, whatever. It's kind of fun. So that's my troops. Okay, so we'll just scoot those off to the side here. Let's get to the specialists here. So this is my first mate here. He's got a plasma cutlass, I think is what it's called, plasma cutlass. And I stuck this is a bit from the Mantic Forge Fathers here. This will be his, because one of the things about the Nomadic Raiders is they have weapons from any race almost. There's like 4 or 5 that you can't have because clearly they're magical or some other thing. So, just gave him a big gun. I thought it looked cool. And the sword broke almost immediately, so I used brass to make him a lightsaber. A plasma cutlass. Here is my Mercenary Engineer. So I give him a backpack, also a Forge Father bit. He also has a pistol, so I made him a pistol out of one of the AK-47s. And then I made a green stuffed a little grenade in his hand. It's, not the best grenade. It looks like a apple or something, but I thought it was, when I paint it metallic, it'll look like a grenade. So I've decided to kind of go with rust colored lizards. So we're going to see. Here is one of my favorite miniatures here. This is a wizard. He's a wizard lizard. He's a space pirate wizard lizard. I gave him a little cape here, and I made the same kind of gun for him on the side there. And I'm going to put something in his hand, but after he gets painted. I have a very special treat. Hopefully that works out, but well, you'll have to stick around for that. So, and then I have my leader here, my captain, El Capitano. I made him a cape. I mean, the green stuff, it's okay, but it's the first time I used his clothes, so I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah. So he's cool. He's just pointing the way. He would have a big weapon, but like I tried to find a weapon that I really liked and I didn't. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to think that he's carrying his weapon behind his cloak or something. And then the mech. Now this thing is a big beast. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. This is from Wargames Games. It was a Kickstarter for a ball tank. It's based on a World War II prototype. Now this right here is a Cromlech bit for a orc arm here, but I need a melee option because I can also take any weapon from any thing. So, but this thing is big, and that's a 50 millimeter base. Everybody else is on the leader's on a 30 millimeter base. Everybody else is on a 25. Also, there is just a scad of cool weapon options. So, I got the ray gun one, which is probably what I'm going to use, but I'll paint them all at once. I had to kind of fill in the back a little bit there. And but scads and scads are cool. Like, there's a flamer, flamethrower. You get 2 of everything, so there's a lot of duplicates, but cool ray gun looking ones. Anyway, that's what's up with me. My crew this week. I'm going to prime them. I'm going to try a Zenithal prime. So we'll see how that goes. Later.
What up, cultists? This is Brendan Carrion, just checking in with you real quick on Starbreach Challenge. Just going to show you what my warband looks like. This is fully assembled, and then we're getting ready to add paint today, and then embark on the painting journey for #Starbreach Challenge. So here's my Coven Empire. Alright, so here we are, kind of getting like a little pano of the Coven Empire that I put together. So things changed, like pretty, first of all, this is not $70. This is a lot more than that. There were some problems with like getting in the models, and so it ended up being like, I just ordered a bunch of models, and then whatever came in was in the army. And part of that was at the very end, there were some kind of changes made to the list. So I'm kind of go through that here right now. I kind of thought, I won't even get into the first iteration of the list and like how fucking different it is now, but my thought was that this awesome Khador model would be my alpha, right? And I gave her the enhanced armor and all this shit. But then when I got these, which I was going to use as my mech, and I got two because blah blah stories. Anyway, I thought this was going to be bigger, but it just doesn't look. It's not bigger. So she definitely looks like the mech, and this does not look like the mech. And I kind of thought for a second about maybe making this thing like the alpha, and then I was like, nah, that's kind of weird. So I just went back to the guy who I had originally thought I was going to use as the alpha anyway, which is this dude. So this dude's my alpha. He spent some time in the list as a Coven Priest. Now he's an alpha. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Sorsha over here is the mech. She's got like a fusion gun, and then like this is like an electro knife, I guess. So all right, and this is an electrified knife also, and then he's got some kind of ranged weapon, but mostly he's just a force multiplier. Then I got these two that are going to be hover drones, and they're both going to have the reactor fields on them to help out my dudes. And then here we have the Raumjagers from Wargames Atlantic, and you can see this guy right here is on a 32mm base. That's because he's a specialist. I put the specialists and the alphas on the 32mm bases, and then, well, I put the mech on a 40mm base, but whatever. So he's a scout, and I give him the head that doesn't have the helmet, so he could look more like a scout. And then he's holding a pulse Jezzail. All the rest of them have pulse carbines, except for this dude who has the little sidearm, and he has like a little radio bit, and he is holding what, is obviously intended to be like a plasma gun, but in this case it's a line gun. So that's my force. This is my Coven Empire, and then like as soon as I'm done delivering this video to Richard, I'm gonna start painting them up. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I hope that your force is going awesome too.
Hi, we're getting started on the Starbreach Challenge, so I'm putting together my army of Space Dwarf, the Path, not Jedi. It's totally Jedi, but anyway, I am very used to D&D minis, and so imagine my surprise when I opened the box, and this is what was in there. It's just body parts. So I'm building my army here, and then I get to build my army here. This is the box that Richard had, so it's got the 24 multi-part. That's what that means, is there's just body parts that you put together. So you get to put that together, and I was looking at this and I thought these were beards. Like, that's gonna be your alpha, is it's got the biggest fuzzy beard, but apparently they're like, you can see some of them on here have little shoulder fur things, so I think that's what they are. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. Put it together and then check in after that. Okay, so what I've done here is I've built my army. You can see I have all of my people and all the values and all that stuff there, and I've gone through the kit and I've snipped out all of the little bits that I need for them. I'm basically building a psychic army with one hired gun. So yeah, and it's got a force ghost. This is going to be a force ghost, which I'm pretty excited about. So that's that. Pretty excited. Okay, I have my Space Dwarf Path army assembled now. So I've got my alpha right here. He needs a lightsaber, so probably gonna use a toothpick or something for that. I have my Padawan and Force Ghost, which is gonna be tied to him. These three are disciples, so they're psychic army dudes. And then my merc here, that's a rocket launcher. So yeah, that is my army so far. So next up, just wait for them to really glue together, put them on a base, and get them painted.
Hey everyone, Daryl from the Full Metal Crew here, showing off my Starbreach Challenge miniatures, fully built. Booyah! We've got the Abaddon forces here. This is a combination of miniatures from Flying Frog Games from the Shadows of Brimstone sets, and some weird miniatures from Malifaux 2nd Edition. So, all primed, ready to paint. Fully assembled army, ready to go. Some demonic little buddies.